Hello, I'm the Badger Reborn, and today's video is something special. I recently participated in a group podcast session hosted by the Black Tower podcast. It also had guests the Gleemen and the Way of the Leaf. The Black Tower pod set it all up and got us together for several hours of fantastic Wheel of Time discussion and arguments. We went through our favorite unpopular opinions regarding characters, themes, or the TV show, and debated the merits of the topic. We split the episode into 2 parts, and I further split it in half again, so I'll release it in 4 parts. They're still long, but I love creating it, and I think you'll enjoy listening. I had a blast debating with these guys, and I've put a link to each of their groups' information in the video discussion below. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and at the end of the video, check these other guys out as well, and subscribe to their platforms, YouTube or podcasts. They each bring something really special and unique to the table. The Gleeman has really intellectual, kind of deep dive takes, whether it's longer or sometimes just kind of bite-sized discussions into different various Wheel of Time topics. The Way of the Leaf is really quite funny. They do the puppets each time, and it's a discussion, sometimes spoiler, sometimes non-spoiler, of the Wheel of Time books. The Black Tower podcast has been going on for a long time, and as you can probably tell from these videos, they go really deep dives into the books with a lot of kind of philosophical takes, looking deeply at characters or themes and that kind of thing. They're all fantastic, so check them all out. I hope you enjoy the 4th quarter of this fun discussion, starting now.
We're going to kind of jump the order, and Vance, I believe you're going to be a Terangrial-esque facet for Drew for his unpopular opinion, and we're going to try to get through that before you have to go.
So and by jump this, we mean that all of us are going to be out in 13 minutes, and I'm actually just going to cede my time to Drew via Vance. So have fun. Let's hear what Drew has to say.
Right. So Drew's unpopular opinion was Jordan had no idea where he was going when he started the story.
Ooh. Is that the whole thing?
That's the whole thing.
Because that's just accurate.
Yeah, I mean, when he sent me that, I was like, bro, that's like, I mean. So here's my take on it. We'll go ahead and jump right into me. I don't think it's 100% correct. I think Jordan knew where he wanted to land. I think he didn't know how he wanted to get there, though. That's for sure. So it's a nuanced differentiation of it, but I think that's more accurate.
Well, yeah, because he initially started, he thought he was going to finish the series in 6 to 7 books maximum.
No, he went to the editor.
Oh,
and said,
was his initial 3?
Yeah.
Oh, the initial.
I think he could have done it in
7.
3 if he had gone ahead and said from the beginning that he was going to do it in 3.
Yeah. But I mean, so
because I think reading The Eye of the World, I could see the whole thing take 3 books.
Yep.
But once you get to book 3 and he's still going strong, you're like, I don't want this to be 3.
Nope.
Yeah. I think he was playing a game of spades, and he underestimated how many books in the game he could win. He bet like 3 books, and he was like, "No, I can actually win like 14/15."
Oh shit! Well, so I'm gonna shoot the moon here.
What actually happened was he went to Tom Doherty and he was like, "Hey, I've got this trilogy I want to do," and Doherty was like, "No, you go long. Give me 6." So it was actually Tor that told him, "Yeah, give us 6, not 3." So.
Well, can we also mention having your, and this is probably a super unpopular opinion, I think she did a great job, but having your wife as your editor might not be the best idea at times. You might want an independent voice.
What is going on? In general, your wife, I can't dispute the theory. Having Harriet be your editor, I think was a fantastic move.
There you go.
Oh,
so Harriet might be an exception to the overall genericism of having your wife be the editor, but there is the argument we've made, like, well, who would feel more comfortable telling you in private that they think that you did something wrong than somebody intimately involved in your life, if it is a true, valid, intimate relationship?
Yeah, right. No, and definitely if it's a partnership, like it very, very much seemed like it was between Harriet and Oliver Rigney. It really does.
Who? No,
Robert Jordan.
I'm kidding.
It really does seem like there was no better person to go ahead and discuss things with in the Wheel of Time because they were on a very similar page. I'm sure they didn't agree all the time, but they were on a very similar page as to what the series should go for. So I actually completely agree that your partner is a great person to have be your editor.
Can be.
Your wife is not necessarily a great person to be your editor because your wife is not always your partner. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be. I'm saying that they aren't always.
I mean, and we see proof with Harriet because of what she made Brandon do with
For
Bella.
example.
She's like, nope, you got to hurt Bella. You have to do it. And Brandon's like, no, 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 no. But it still happened. Don't be wrong. We found out in the companion she survived.
Right. What was that wreck? Right?
But that wrecks so many people. Like, you love Bella, whether you realize it or not. You love Bella.
Right. And then whether you think she's the creator or not, she's beautiful.
Right.
What a staggering.
Yeah, that companion little addendum really bothered me. I'm like, wait, Bella's alive? And at Edmonds Field again? What the heck?
To be fair, going to the actual theory here, right? So going to the actual theory here, I actually, coming from this world, really very much feel like the Eye of the World is the pilot and or first season of the Wheel of Time. It absolutely is. And I think that, as you already said, and J.K. Rowling, any feelings that you have on her aside, absolutely did the same thing as far as the first book of Harry Potter, where when she was writing the Sorcerer's Stone, she also wrote the battle between Voldemort and Harry Potter. So she knew where she was going to land. And when the 7th book came out, very, very little changed about the last battle for Hogwarts. Now, granted, there's a whole thing there that I don't love because it actually sounds like she wrote it during the Sorcerer's Stone. And that's a whole different thing. But again, I actually agree totally with what Van said, that I think Robert Jordan knew where he was going to land, but absolutely changed almost everything about how he was going to get to Tarman Gaiden between the time that he wrote The Eye of the World and the time that he died and passed things on to Brandon Sanderson. And so I think that that's not necessarily an unpopular opinion, though it's not complete. That's what I would agree with you, Vance, as far as that being true.
Well,
Ryan, you're next.
You like that? I have my hand raised.
I know, right? It's fantastic. Perfect use of the finger.
Puffy sausages.
It's some sort of bind. Yeah. These are not injured. This is how it's okay. Don't be alarmed, everybody. Okay. When I saw Brandon Sanderson, I'm sorry. When I saw Robert Jordan at a book signing in Santa Cruz, California, the classic kind of hippie Santa Cruz type got up and I think he literally might have been wearing a tie-dye. And he goes, excuse me, Mr. Robert Jordan, were you ever surprised by where the story took you? Were you ever like inspired by where the characters are going? And do you ever surprised by where? And he goes, hey, he basically shut him up, and he goes, I'm an Old Testament God when I write. Everything I do is on purpose. I knew from the very beginning what the ending is going to be, and I'm making decisions to how to get there. And I've known from day one, this has been mapped out. And he made it very explicitly clear that, like, literally, this is almost like a vision that he had from the very beginning. Now, when I see the Dusty Wheel and they go through the notes, I do see that there are a lot of changes that seem to contradict that attitude he was showing during it live. Like, that was very dramatic how he said that, and I'll never forget it. He's an Old Testament God. If someone dies, it's because I killed them, is how he basically said it.
I mean, let's not forget, I don't mean to interrupt, the simple fact that the framework for what happens, the biggest event of Winter's Heart, we get the guidebook too in Eye of the World. How do you cleanse Sidene? Well, if you knew it was coming and you know what to look for, like Rand definitely didn't, but got lucky enough because plot armor, and he has fantastic people around him, like men that read a bunch of books that are like, you need to do this kind of thing. You know how to cleanse Sidene from the end of book 1, but nobody in book 1 is going to look at that shit. I guarantee you, there's not one single person. There's not 2 single people in the entire world that read the Eye of the World, got through, and was like, in like 7 books, they're gonna figure out how to remove the taint from it. But
the vast majority of couples got it though. Only 2 single people, but the vast majority of couples.
that's because when you Google how to get
right.
That's because when you Google how to get rid of the taint smell, like it's one of the things that pops up. But Badger, let's move to you because I do want Vance to hear the conclusion of thoughts on this topic at least before he has to dip out. Vance, there's also a DM for you on Discord if you would check it.
All right. That he was wrong, and this is why.
Let's go punch Drew in the gonads. Anyway, sorry, Badger. Go ahead.
I guess I just have like a quick thought-ish. And kind of what on the topic you just mentioned in terms of what's there in Eye of the World, there's definitely quite a lot in Eye of the World that's setting up for future things. So I think while it was like a season 1, and I think there were also maybe a lot of threads of the pattern that Robert Jordan was planning if he got a chance to do more. And he didn't know where all of them were exactly going to branch, but he at least had ideas of where they were going to start threading. I think there are some writers, and see this in movies, J.J. Abrams maybe sometimes with perhaps the first Star Wars of the new trilogy, just makes mysteries and has no idea where they're going to go, and just thinks, I'll figure all these things out later. And I think Robert Jordan maybe did that with some things. Like there are a few Min visions that we get that it's like, that doesn't really seem to connect to anything at all in the series whatsoever. But with most of it, it's like, wow, he must have had an idea at least of what that was going to mean, because it's so omniscient at the beginning once you read a section later on.
Mm-hmm.
So the original theory was that having Harriet as one of the editors was a bad idea.
That was an aside.
That was a tangent.
That was a secondary hot take.
It's too many people.
That was me. Sorry.
I know.
What was the original theory?
The original theory was that Jordan had no idea where he was going when he started the story.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think that
that's
all
something
of us
we can vote on.
actually are disagreeing with that. I will throw out there that there are actually a number of things that don't necessarily come to fruition, or that the rules change a little bit between Eye of the World into the rest of the series. But I definitely think that all of us are on the page that at least Jordan knew where he was landing, if not most of how to get there.
May not have known the specifics.
Or whatnot. Exactly.
But he may have, but he knew exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, when you create a story like this, you kind of have to know. So let's take a vote. If you believe that RJ had no idea where the series is going to end up, go ahead and raise your hand. Don't be shy.
So most
Twitter.
The most unpopular.
George R.R. Martin is a gardener, but Robert Jordan was an architect. And so George R.R. Martin just kind of sees what grows in his garden and reacts. But Robert Jordan, I think, had much more structure and idea.
So let's give it an extra vote. If you believe that Robert Jordan knew where the series is going to end, but was uncertain of the path that it was going to take to get there, raise your hand.
Well, do you mean like 100%?
Like 100%, like he might have had, let's say, no more than 50% of it figured out, but the other 50% was, let's see what happens with the characters as I write them. So if you think, all right, let's go with this. He knew it was going to end, but he only 50% or more knew what was going to happen to get to the end. Raise your hand.
Wait, only
50% or less.
50% or nope. I'm saying 50% or more. I'm saying 50% or more.
I think so. And the quick reason I'll say is because almost every character in Eye of the World is a main character the rest of the time.
All right. So we got 3 out of 3. Now let's say same scenario. He knows what's going to happen to the end, but he only knows 49% or less of how they're going to get there.
Okay.
Raise your hand.
I'm so confused. I wanted to be on the. I think he knew way more going into it. I messed it
All
up.
right.
Do
So
I start over?
No, you're fine.
You're
so we
good.
have a 4-2 vote right now. The Robert Jordan knew most of what was going to happen to lead to the end of the series.
That's me.
No, it sounds like it's a 5-1 now.
Like an astonishing amount.
There's only 6 people here, and I think Dan voted with me that he knew less than 50%.
Okay. I didn't realize that you were voting
gonna get to
less
the
than
end.
50%. Okay,
I was voting
yeah.
less.
I don't
42,
think he planned
like
on
it.
over 1,000 characters being named and all that. I don't think he planned all
Dude,
that.
and like 98%
That being said, I think he knew
of them are
49%.
Aes Sedai with
Yeah.
with a name that starts with S.
Yeah.
It's like 90%
And
of
the
the
rest
named
started with
characters.
A. The rest started with A.
Aaron
But I think he knew about like 48.539624968 tailgate fine percent.
Okay,
That
fine.
checks
Okay.
out. That checks out.
But anyway, we do have the moment. I know, Vance, you have to dip out. But if you do have like 2 minutes at max or so, why don't you go ahead and where can we find the Gleemen? What are you guys about? Again, where can we come and enjoy you, and not just you, but Drew as well?
Right. So we are the Gleemen on YouTube. That is the space Gleemen, men as in plural men, not man. We just released a culture series video this week, as well as I released one about Perrin and Fail on Monday. And Drew has one that's supposed to be out as today as of recording, though I'm not sure if he met a schedule. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, go check us out. We're also on Twitter and Instagram. We're shamelessly hawking our own videos and occasionally partaking in some polls with everyone else.
Do you have dates for those episodes? Like dates, because we don't know exactly what date this episode is going to come out on.
Right. So the culture series part 2 video we released, it says 2 days ago. Today is August 14th. So that would have been August 12th that came out.
Nice. Well,
There
we
you
look
go.
forward to more videos from the two of you. I'm sure that there will be at least a few that drop between the time that this is recorded and the time that this is posted. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Go
Yeah,
follow
thanks
the
for having
Gleemen.
me.
Go follow the Gleemen on everything you can. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on you on not YouTube, but I mean, if it gives you both
Everywhere.
options, do it. But follow definitely on Twitter. I believe you said you have an Instagram as well.
Mm-hmm.
Go
pretty
follow
easy
them
to
everywhere. Yeah, they're fantastic peeps, and maybe if I can bug Vance enough in the future, they'll have their own Discord.
Yeah.
Possibly. Well, we need a little bit more of a following. We're 50 subscribers strong right now, so let's go and
Yeah,
get some
that's
more.
50
never too
people
early
that
to
don't
start.
have a place to go, Vance.
I did
40,
my part.
40 of them are already in other Discords.
Doesn't matter.
That's true.
It's
Fair
never
enough.
too early to start, but it can always be too late to start.
Well, it's
I don't
very
think
much,
that works with the internet,
dude,
but
I mean, Gleemen don't run the tavern, guys. Gleemen go around and
This is
entertain other people's.
Oh,
Right? What are you guys doing to this guy? You're trying to change his whole thing. He's going to become like a
Vin-
owner.
Vince,
He's
did
got to
you-
like think
that's
about
fair. Now I feel like an asshole.
HIPAA and all the getting sued for malfeasance.
I'm not
That's
worried
all
about
he-
HIPAA. They're not doctors. They're Gleemen.
Well, I
Vince,
mean, you're
did
saying
you
it's like he's
slip
got
Ryan
to
a
create his
20?
own.
Like-
He's got to create his own server.
No. If someone happens to create it for him, and then he
Oh,
has
yeah.
ownership, who knows? Who knows what could happen?
There we go. You'll just
Advance.
you'll just inherit an inn called the Randy Gleeman, and then you'll be fine.
Do I make you Randy, baby? Do I make you burp? But Vance, thank you so much for making the time. I know that you need to go right now before you get your ears boxed. Tell Drew that we love him, that we missed him, and I'm sure there will be opportunities in the future for you guys to come back on to the Black Tower podcast
Right.
kind of event type thing.
Event type thing.
Yeah.
Event
All right.
type.
Thanks for having us, and
Yeah.
I will catch you all later.
Yep, have a good one,
Bye,
man.
Vance. Gleemen are awesome, man.
They are.
They make Beltane
Awesome.
all the much better.
Oh, we
Now
just
Now that
changed it.
everybody's facial order on my screen has changed, we have
Mine's mostly changed as well.
we have one individual left that has an idea that none of us care about. So thank you all for coming out to. No, I'm just kidding.
Bye.
So we've heard from Dan, we've heard from Drew, we've heard from the rest of us, but we haven't heard an unpopular opinion from Daniel, and I don't mean Daniel Green. I mean Daniel from the Black Tower podcast.
Yeah.
You have to have an unpopular opinion. I know you well enough to know that you have
Just
to
look
have
at him.
one.
Just look at that face.
Here's my binder.
Thank you. I will need that. No, I actually have plenty of unpopular opinions of my own to bring up, and I think the one that I'm going to use for this particular thing, it may not actually be that unpopular. I don't know. I've definitely seen on Twitter that there are some people that go back and forth. I don't know how it'll be with this group of people. But my particular unpopular opinion is that the White Tower is actually the most destructive entity in Randland until the Shan-Chan show up. Because they are actually far more destructive. But
I think I blew up my microphone on those claps.
My unpopular opinion is that the White Tower is actually, while they are actually an entity that brings a lot of things together and do actually stop a lot of war and whatnot, I do actually think that's true. Based on their own rules, based on their own traditions, and based on how they view the world, especially people like the Amerlin Seat and the head of Ajas, that they actually do more harm than good in the Third Age.
I'll be right back.
I don't think that was always true, but I definitely think that in the Third Age, the White Tower is actually more destructive than it is helpful. That is my unpopular opinion.
Wow.
I think I'm up first, and you have an effective arguing style. I was coming up with points to rebut, and then you did a good job of addressing the points I was going to bring up, which is cheating, I think.
He pre-butted your rebut.
So the one thing I was going to point out was I think there's a lot more positive that the Aes Sedai do that we don't see, because we see the Tower Aes Sedai, the ones who stay there, and they're kind of the most useless of the bunch because they're so self-absorbed and into Tower politics and all the infighting, for the most part, most of them. And we don't see the ones like Cadsuane, who's going out and catching false dragons who are causing wars. And we don't see the Greys like Anura, who are spending their entire life with Barrelane and helping Tyr to not overtake Mayene, or the ones that stay in the borderlands and advise those rulers and help them. Although I think there should be a lot more Greens that do that, because they're sitting on their butts in the tower instead of fighting the actual Shadow Spawn who frequently attack. So I think there is more positive that we see the Tower do than is kind of presented in the books, because it's the less interesting side of the Tower. But I think I would agree on the whole that until the Shan-Chan get there, it's probably the most destructive also, because there are just so many corruptive influences it provides as well. So, and I also just can't really think of anything else that is super destructive before the Shan-Chan. So I think
You're not wrong.
I think I'll agree on the whole.
All the civil and smaller wars. The White Cloaks.
Yeah, but it's never one thing. Oh yeah, White Cloaks. Yeah, but they have so little power, though. I don't think
you're not wrong.
They control an entire country.
No, and that's actually one of the reasons that I actually think that the White Tower is the most destructive, is that they have the most ability to start in the White Tower, but then exit the White Tower and go to other places, and, for lack of a better phrase, fuck shit up everywhere they go, because, with the exception of Amadisia, they are actually kind of accepted and well invited into sort of everywhere else. Oh no, you're right. Tyr is also a good example of where
I don't spend too much time in formatting either.
Yeah,
true.
I mean, I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that wants to say what I truly believe, and there's a part of me that wants to try to play devil's advocate. And I'm having to choose between the Dragon's Fang and the Flamatar Valen here. So there's a part of me that wants to...
But they're all the same symbol.
Yeah, all part of the same symbol, but they're missing 50% of their motherfucking people.
Wait, what? Go.
What?
Explain.
Because they're missing the Dragon's Fang or the Ashaman side of the ancient Aes Sedai symbol, because Aes Sedai, used to not just be an exclusive term to female channelers only. There was no exclusivity to Aes Sedai. But that's no longer the case. The White Tower, in and of itself, I think is a good example of a lot of the way people describe people that were a part of not necessarily Darth Vader's Death Star, as Ryan seems to have teleported to with his red background, but more so of. I often describe the White Cloaks in the same way, though it's not as abundantly obvious. An organization with the best of intentions at heart. The example I was going to use is like the Manhattan Project, the development of nuclear weapons. The people that did some of the worst possible things with the best possible intentions. I mean, the program of gentling male chandlers with absolutely zero aftercare, literally most gentle male chandlers that were gentled at the White Tower were found dead inside of the boundaries of Tar Valon. Because there was no aftercare. It's, well, you can't channel, you're not a problem anymore. Just go off and fuck off as far as we are concerned, which is more of a shot against the Red Aja than anything else. But ultimately, the tower as a whole is responsible for how any individual group of sisters acts. So you wind up with this group that has survived Ultra Hawkwing and everything that's happened, that is left in a more legacy position of power than a position of true legitimacy and power. It's their legacy that gives the White Tower power. There's these people that whenever all these other people that could use magic went insane, these people didn't. So they must be stronger. So, and they live longer than most of the rest of us, but they don't care to share that secret or do too much for us in that regard, unless you have plenty of coin. But they have so much. The more you learn the White Tower, I don't think in the early first 3 or 4 books that you could argue that the White Tower does bad. It's hard to. That there are people in the White Tower that do bad. That the White Tower isn't perfect, but it doesn't come apparent until later, where you find out just how much infighting there is in the White Tower. It's Congress all over again. It's most modern political systems all over again. We're fighting each other because we disagree on the fundamentals of what we represent. It's the Red Aja fighting people that don't want to immediately go out and as close to murder as you can, male chandlers, versus people that read history books and say, well, one of those has got to be the Dragon Reborn, and the White Aja going, well, logically there should be one out there somewhere eventually that we should look out for. And then you have the Green Aja. It's like, well, we need to make sure that we keep training men to fight, and if there are strong men that can fight to fight the Dark One, because it's going to happen. I mean, it's so much infighting that I think we get a disproportionate view on their view of the outside world early on than what their actual view and goals for the outside world are. Because we learn that over time they've recruited far less and less and less and less potential chandlers. It's a weakening organization because of the overall philosophy that the entire tower adopts. It's a flawed philosophy. It's a flawed governing system. And to be perfectly honest, their sphere of influence is only as strong as it is because they have a kinship with the Queen of Andor. So you have a kinship with the Queen that's at the center of the continent that by tradition and culture is one of you, be it honorary or not. It's nothing good comes from that. I think they're a far more overall destructive force. And I think that's why we get the culmination that we do. Whenever the tower is indeed split, when you have Rebel Aes Sedai, when the White Tower does divide, when Elaida betrays her Amyrlin, though I don't believe that's entirely her decision. I think, who the fuck is her keeper?
Alviarin.
Yeah, I think Alviarin has a lot more to do with that than we realize in the reading of the series. But it's I liken the White Tower a lot to the White Cloaks. That there is a forgive the phrase, come to Jesus moment that the organization has to face. And leading up to that, they do less and less good for the rest of the world. I've talked far too long already. So, next person.
Well,
Dan, Ryan.
And actually, to your point, Andrew. So, yeah, the White Tower to me is not as much destructive as I would describe them as being ineffectual. So we have a Red Aja that is, let's say, theoretically about 1/6 or 1/5 of the total population. And we've had 2 or 3 false dragons, which, okay, and one could channel, one could not. This is not a busy group. We have the Green Aja that, when they're actually battle tested, suck bad. We have an Aja that's dedicated to logic and
seemingly
mediating.
no logic.
And mediating, but I don't see much mediation going on. There's one dedicated to reading and stuff. However, it takes Elaine to just study an angry owl and go, well, no, actually, I can do this.
Well, that was hidden behind the plot device of a talent. To be fair,
Egwin's able to recreate Quandar. None of these are grays. The grays are ineffectual for the most part. It is mostly you have magical women, the only people that have magic in the whole land.
I'm sorry, did you just suggest that Aes Sedai are magical girls?
Yes.
That's an unpopular opinion right there.
I'm not sure what did I step into. I'm
Sorry, magical girls are things like Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon is like one of the most sort of mainstream magical girls, where they like transform and they're all in like high school, and it's mostly anime.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was totally a joke. I don't actually think that you were equating those two things.
Daniel, your browser must be a dark place, my man.
It might be.
I'm just kidding. So yeah, I see him potentially as being destructive, but for the most part, I see him as ineffectual. They have a relationship with Andor. A lot of the nations don't even let Aes Sedai in, or was it Faldara that has the block? Farmanning. I'm sorry, thank you. Yeah. That has the entire block where you can't channel. There's more adversary to the idea of people that are magic versus people that are not magic than there are this cohesive blending. They're just up in their White Tower. I mean, it's called the White Tower, for crying out. They're just up in their White Tower, just doing whatever they do without having much control over most of what I see. So I don't see them as destructive as being just kind of crappy and not really effectual, not reaching their potential.
I think it comes down more to that, because of the reputation that Aes Sedai have built over the last 3,000 years, that because of their ineffectuality, it becomes damaging to the current world, because so many people are looking to the White Tower for guidance for what they should do. And very early on, by the time they make it to the White Tower to say, like, well, what's going on? What should we do? The White Tower is too focused on, well, half of our people fucked off and said they don't believe us anymore and they don't care about us. And the person in charge is building a fucking palace. Mm-hmm. So, fight the shadow. That's the guidance we have for you.
Sell all your belongings, fight the shadow, go, my child, say 12 Hail Marys.
Now, I'm sure we're not hearing about all the healing that the Yellows do, perhaps. We're not hearing about certain
all
things.
That healing.
I mean,
all that healing.
They may be doing
travel to Tarvalin if you can, and we might heal you.
Yeah, if you have the coin.
Yeah, so perhaps there's Yellows just kind of dispersed around doing good deeds because they're magical and can do that thing. I'm not sure, but for the most part, they suck.
All right, Ryan, what do you got?
I'm not going to come in hot. I'm going to come in lukewarm.
Nice.
I appreciate that.
I'm in
pretty
agreement.
sore from the heat.
I agree with the group. I think that the Aes Sedai are not only dangerous, and I think they're a net negative effect on the world. And I think that's kind of Egwin's purpose, basically, right? Is she's going to go in there and she's has a clarity of mind to see what's going on. Like,
are you saying Egwene is the Galad of the White Tower?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
maybe.
No, I actually really like that in terms of, I mean, to be fair, later on in the series, I think it does take, I do like where the White Tower sort of ends, but it takes the Black Tower and the Saladar Aes Sedai to really turn where the White Tower was going. And I think that the split really does actually help the White Tower, because it does get worse before it gets better. Don't get me wrong. I think that when all of the Aes Sedai were in the White Tower, they were ineffectual and pretty useless. Though, again, to Badger's point, I think that we don't get enough of all of the Aes Sedai who are like, yeah, fuck the White Tower. I don't want to be there. I want to go do good in the world. And so those Aes Sedai are actually doing what they can. The White Tower itself is relatively ineffectual. And then when they get challenged by this slip of a girl, Amyrlin, and the existence of the Black Tower, I do think that they turn into a pretty solid entity. But again, at the beginning, I think they start pretty either ineffective or, in my opinion, fairly destructive.
Yeah.
I want to add a couple of points. I don't think the Salidar Aes Sedai are actually particularly destructive, because they don't really bother anyone. They go into an abandoned city. When they pass back through on the way to Tarvalin, everyone just ignores them. They actually help economies that they pass through by buying a whole ton of stuff and giving soldiers jobs. And really, then they go back into the tower and kind of heals itself. So I think a lot of the White Tower's problems are sort of self-contained and don't hurt that many people in the world. So I'm not sure if it's that destructive. Whereas the White Cloaks, on the other hand, and I'm glad you brought them up, Andrew, they are extremely destructive. They turn people in a village against each other. They cause deaths over and over and over and over again by having people killed for no reason who are suspected of being Dark Friends.
She's a witch.
Yeah.
She turned me into a newt.
But Ryan, I think we interrupted your train of thought. I mean, namely myself. But
it's hard for me to keep anything straight in here, so I'm grasping. But yeah, one point I want to make is: do we believe that 25% of the entire population are Dark Friends?
Of Aes Sedai?
No, I'm saying of everybody, of the world. Like, is that an assumption we have? Do we all have that? I'm assuming we don't, right? But 25%.
Say that it's
but 25% of Aes Sedai are corrupted by the Dark One, Black Aja, correct? So that fact alone makes, like, imagine like we have a nuclear arsenal and 25% of them just might go rogue. That's in and of itself something we need to contend with. And then so we have these Aes Sedai that are intimately like connected to royalty, and they're advising them, and then that Aes Sedai might actually be a Forsaken who's actually controlling. I mean, so it's not necessarily
that never happens at all.
Never. But it's so
fake news. Fake news.
Wow, I engendered a fake news chant. Great. I've been waiting for it. Am I going viral?
I don't know if you should be proud or scared.
This is the time of coronavirus. You don't want to go viral.
Well, so I like to think of these books as, we have, there's our current age, and then we have the Age of Legends, which is kind of an example of a society that's developed alongside the access to the power to such an extent that they've used that to heighten the society around them. And I think that's very purposefully done to show that what is happening in the books is decrepit and horrible and not living up to any standard that's a possibility, and highlighting the ultimate good that could come of these powers, and juxtaposing it with the bitter rancor that is being exhibited, I think is purposeful and well done. And I think that, makes me solidly say I absolutely agree. And I don't think it's that much of an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, I can't believe it took us so long for someone to mention the Black Aja, which you said the White Tower, and I guess the Black Aja would technically be part of the White Tower. So, yeah, definitely have to agree with you.
Let's,
right,
I think that's something we
can. 1 in 5 or something. I'm sorry.
I think that's something we can. No, you're fine. I've interrupted enough people at my own self, so by all means, it's only whenever I put on the moderator hat that it's like, be quiet.
Mhm.
So I think that's something we can
The
take.
moderator hat.
I don't have one.
I bet
I should get a flat bill hat that says moderator on it. But then I have to sit there the whole time when I have it on and just be quiet. But I think this is something we can take a vote on. So correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel, but the original theory, the quote-unquote unpopular opinion, is that the White Tower initially, as we see it through, how far would you say? Until after the rebellion is resolved?
I would say before the split.
Okay. So the
I
White
think
Tower...
split is
You
probably
said,
the
you
best.
said pre-Shanshan, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
so
so we'll go with
pre-split,
that.
It's
basically.
gonna be Eye of the World.
Is that pre-Shanshan attack on the tower?
I mean, I was suggesting that it was,
Are we
all
talking
the way
like
up until
the
post
Great Hunt?
Falma, because Falma is a suggestion of Shan power, and they get kind of gross, but like they don't get super gross until like you actually start reading them after Falma. So I was just thinking sort of pre-split, pre-Saladar
do we
Aes
want to
Sedai, when
go
there's just
book
White
1 through
Tower
3?
as a whole.
So do we
Pre-vote,
want to
what
go
about
Eye of the World, The Great Hunt, and Dragon Reborn?
Effectively, yeah.
That
That would
sounds
sort of be where I would suggest is sort of the White Tower as a whole, as it is from the beginning to the split.
okay. So we'll go with that. So the White Tower, original theory, or original unpopular opinion, being that the White Tower we see from book 1, Eye of the World, all the way through book 3, The Dragon Reborn, is a destructive
Is the most
destructive force
in Randaland.
in the
that would
world
be
that we
a
see.
popular opinion.
So, hands that agree, let's go up now. Oh, that's 3 out of 5. Hands that disagree.
I
You can be in the middle. You can be in the
well,
middle. If you
I
want.
mean, here's what just popped in my head.
Mhm.
If we really just logically take it to the end, what Moraine does in book 3 supersedes anything that any other Aes Sedai does. She gets Rand where he needs to be to save the world. So
But she's
also at the
also
very end, I
operating
said, you know
without the
what?
knowledge of the rest of the White Tower.
she is still
Yeah, she had to. No, she had
But
to like
she is-
subvert them.
Yeah,
No,
which means the White
if you
Tower's
are
organization-
sort of giving all of the bad apples of the Black Tower or of the Black Aja as much credence for their responsibility in the White Tower, you do actually have to give Moraine, Cad Swain, all of these other Aes Sedai that are working outside the White Tower as much credence. So
And when
I
they
like
win,
that. That's
they
nice.
win. Yeah, I mean, like the net effect is a net positive because, God damn it, they won. Boom.
But that's Moraine acting as a person that happens to be part of the White Tower versus the White Tower's action.
So I would also
No, but
add,
Which just makes what they did even more incredible because they actually had to almost become a non-Aes Sedai. Literally, they had to like go against. They were going covert and saving the world. On their own. I think that's
SEAL Team Moraine, bitch.
basically.
So, do the actions from Moraine speak for the entire White Tower, even though the entire White Tower was against her and Suan?
Well, wait. Is it the
That
White
is a whole different discussion.
Oh.
and if we're thinking
I mean,
big
that's the
picture
thing.
like
Can
that,
Part 3 coming soon.
Can we take Moraine's actions as representative of the White Tower? Because the question is about the White Tower as a whole, as an entire organization. 90% at least of which were unaware of what Moraine was doing because the plots between Moraine and Suan were very, very secretive and private. So I don't think they can be representative of the White Tower.
Except that
I
again,
agree with you.
think about the
Amaryl
fact
and
that again,
Center.
if you're talking about or if you're giving the White Tower sort of credit and giving them a doc for all of the Black Aja Aes Sedai, you definitely still have to give them credit for what Moraine was doing, especially, as Ryan just said, that her actions were, and she was deposed for it in some ways, but sanctioned by the Amyrlin seat.
Yeah. And the Amyrlin
So
was in
I
turn
think-
for hiding the identity and the actions to support the Dragon Reborn disposed by a majority of the
Deposed.
White Tower Hall.
Yeah, no, and so again, I would say that all of it encompasses the White Tower. And in fact, to Badger's point earlier, I would actually give, as he sort of was talking about, I would give the White Tower credit for the fact that they trained these Aes Sedai, for the fact that they sent them out into the world and whatnot. Everything that Cadsuane does, everything that every Yellow who is walking the earth, healing anybody that they come across, any of that stuff. The vast majority of the people, not the kin, but anyone who is still claiming to be Aes Sedai out in the world, the White Tower still gets credit for that, in my opinion.
I was going to say,
in my opinion.
I was going to say, really, it depends. Maybe it just depends on how Moraine would see it.
So I'm blowing on my
deal
finger.
breaker.
I'm blowing on my finger here because you brought up Cadsuane as an example, and most of the Aes Sedai in the White Tower don't believe that she's still alive. They believe she's dead, which means she was trained before this iteration was really around.
Sure,
like I'm saying, the vast
still
majority
die. Therefore, she is still connected to the White Tower. She's not kin,
so what you're arguing here
is
a differentiation.
Whatever.
What you're arguing is a differentiation between the question is, does the White Tower not do the Aes Sedai? And the Aes Sedai in mass, yes, may make up the White Tower, but what we see very early on is an en masse Aes Sedai and en masse White Tower that detracts and disagrees with the direction that Moraine takes, which by definition means that the White Tower as a whole disagrees with Moraine and Suwan's actions. That's why we see Suwan and Leanne, I know I'm not pronouncing it the same way the actress does,
Liana.
are stilled. Yeah, Liana. Why they are stilled. Why they are removed. Their very actions that you are stating that support the White Tower not being a destructive force against Ranlan are the very reasons why they're removed from power, because of the secrecy and because of the actions they take. Let's not forget that once Elida takes power, she spends her entire time literally trying to put a collar on the Dragon Reborn. So all this stuff that has yielded positive results.
You're in. Let's go.
All this stuff that has yielded a positive result is not an action of the White Tower in mass. It is an action that comes from Suwan, Leanne, because I can't remember to pronounce it any other way, and Moraine. And ultimately, yes, once we get further on past book 3, which is beyond the scope of the unpopular opinion, Cadsuane. So,
no, it's fair, and again, that's one of the reasons that, again, I think that this is a slightly unpopular opinion, but at the same time, there is legitimacy to it. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I brought up that particular one for this particular episode, because I think that there has been a lively discussion. But again, it does a little bit come down to how you define the White Tower. If you actually define the White Tower as the Aes Sedai who are present in the White Tower at the time, and anything sanctioned by the majority of the White Tower, it does become a little different than all of the organization of the Aes Sedai at the time.
And just the people that have a membership card.
I mean, I think even if you're thinking like Moraine ultimately got Rand to the good place, and so that overrides everything. I think that's getting like a little bit too big picture, because like in the way the pattern's woven, you could say, nothing was destructive in the long run. Even the White Cloaks had their role to play in the Light winning the last battle, and so everything was equally helpful. And so I think kind of you have to like draw it back down a little bit to not using that as like an outweighing everything else. And I would also add that the Shanshan, I'm not sure if we're looking big picture, are they even destructive? I think they might be a more positive force in their overall what they contribute.
Only in the Ozymandias did nothing wrong kind of way.
Only in the very
against the
very zoomed out, most zoomed out possible view. They helped to win the last battle. It wouldn't have been possible without it.
No, it's true.
All right.
But cool. I think that we've now gotten all 8 unpopular opinions.
Yay!
So, you guys that are watching or listening or whatever medium that you're being exposed to this in, from part 1, part 2, we want to hear your thoughts. We've already said in part 1, we want to hear your thoughts. Part 2, we want to hear your thoughts. What are some of the ones that you think were the most surprising to hear? What are some of the ones that you thought that were, oh, well, that was obvious. Like, how could you think any differently? What were your impressions of the unpopular opinions as we stated them here? And maybe what are some you'd like to hear more on? Because if you'd like to hear more on a certain subject, you may not hear it on Black Tower Podcast. You might not hear it from the Badger Reborn, sorry. You may not hear it on the Gleemen. You may not hear it on the Way of the Leaf. You may hear it from a combination or none of the above. So go to the people that have the opinion or that you like their opinion the most and say, hey, I'd like to hear more about this. Tell us, hey, Andrew, can you expound more on your ideas about what the one power actually does? Or maybe go to Daniel and say, can you guys expand on the White Tower as a destructive force, books 1 through 3?
Or maybe go to Brother Dan and say, hey, you know that binder you've got? Let's hear more.
Let's see it all.
Oh.
What secrets do you hold?
Which volume do you want, man?
How many do you have?
Are there tabs? Are there volumes? Are there episodes? Or what do we got going on?
Appendices?
Yeah. Awesome. But yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Like, let us know if you want to hear more on particular opinions. Again, if you are super surprised because you're like, that's not an unpopular opinion, I'm 100% for that. Or what in the world are you talking about? That is the most unpopular opinion I've ever heard. Definitely go ahead and give us feedback.
Come find us.
Any of us, Black Tower Podcast, Way of the Leaf, the Gleeman, the Badger, all of it. Do it all.
I can't promise we'll all tackle it together. However, whoever you talk to about it may well choose to tackle it. And one of the other ones, one of us. So if you talk to the Badger Reborn about how could you not agree about theory Y or unpopular opinion X, 9, A12, because my child is named Kyle, but I wrote it weird. It may be somebody else that picks it up and decides to have the discussion on it because it can inspire things across the board. But let us know what you think. Let us all know what you think, and go check everybody out, because there's going to be different content that we all put out at different times in different mediums. It's not always going to be the same. Oftentimes, I'm sure it's very, very far from it.
And I'm sure that even if we do the same topic, we all have vastly different takes.
So with that, Vance with the Gleeman already did his plugs. Hopefully you heard them. If you haven't, rewind back about 40 minutes-ish or so, about 38 to be exact as I'm saying this, to hear where to find the Gleeman. But Badger, where can people go to hear more of your stuff and to hear more of what you think and even engage with you?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel's name is just the Badger Reborn, so you can search that in YouTube. Also a Twitter account, Badger Reborn, which I don't post a lot of long form content, but occasionally have some interesting polls or interesting weird opinions or whatnot. So you can follow me there as well. And then I have a Facebook account, but I don't really do much with it besides post my own stuff onto Facebook. But you're more than welcome to friend the Badger Reborn Facebook account too. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to add that I've loved being here with you guys, and the editing that I know you're going to have to do for the podcast, like cutting out my feedback from not wearing headphones in the last episode. Really appreciate you guys doing all that to get us all in the same place and make these happen. So it's been really fantastic, and I'm glad we got a chance to do it.
Because this is your first full on legitimate collaboration, isn't it?
This is my first collaboration.
Technically second,
really
I guess now.
Well, it's true. The last one with this group, the first one of any type.
Yay!
So yeah, I really love doing that as well, and we'll definitely be planning on doing more of those in the future.
Yeah.
Your videos are awesome.
You've been a wonderful presence here. So definitely, if you get an invitation to collab, take them up on it, because as long as they are solid content creators, you are also a solid content creator who we've really appreciated having.
Well, thank you very much.
And if you've now got the bug for collaborations, reach out to people. We all have that secretive collective Discord for creators. not super secretive, but secretive enough.
Not super secretive.
I mean, people know the name, but it's only creators that are allowed.
We're kind
in.
of a big deal. People know us.
There's people there.
Blue Steel.
Most people are there. There's some that aren't, for whatever reason. But hit people up. That's what it's there for. Hit us up. And I don't just mean Black Tower Podcast. I mean, hit up Leafcast, hit up the Gleemen, all that stuff, because collaborations are always fun.
Indeed.
But yeah, so now it's your turn. The Way of the Leaf. Where can we find you? Where can we hear more of your amazing puppet voices and more of your amazing content? Where can we find you guys?
Well, first off, I just want to say, thank you. We realize this is kind of like a Survivor Island style thing you're doing where you're having us on and then you're going to have some other content creators. I just hope we make it to the next round. I think we really put our heart and soul in. I think
voted off the island.
We bring a certain je ne sais quoi that you might not get from other content creators.
Speaking French.
We collaborate well. Anyway, so yeah. So
Je ne sais quoi means eyebrows in French.
Every Thursday at 8 Eastern, we are live streaming with our first time reader. We have a segment. So we have a first time reader. We are on just chapters 13 and 14, I think we're at right now. So we're early on in the Eye of the World. Our first time reader is amazing when we're collecting more first time readers. So we're going to have actually some more on, and it's kind of growing. The format is coalescing and it's working out well. So we'd love to have you guys watch on Thursdays. We are also going to be having guests on for episodes of what we call Tavern Talk, and that's going to be where we just have free form discussions like this that can involve anything we want. So everyone who's been a part of this is going to get an invitation at one point.
Check your emails.
Yeah. So we loved working with you, Badger. You're so kind. It's more like you're more like a meerkat reborn. You're not Badger might give you a bad connotation. It's really, you're the nicest man I've met in the world.
It's an old reincarnation.
Yeah. The Gleemen are great. We've been hanging out with them on Discord. He's going to actually give us some metal song, hopefully, for this thing we're doing in homage to Bella. So yeah, we got a lot of things going on, but mostly we're focusing on YouTube, and we have a podcast that we're actually working on also. So you can find us on YouTube at The Way of the Leaf, and then you can find the podcast is The Way the Leafcast. And yeah, Dan, you got anything else?
No, that's it. Except for the Badger Reborn, I love your videos. I truly love your videos. I love your takes on a lot of the things you're doing.
Man,
So
have you ever gotten fangirled so hard?
I have not.
This is
You guys
amazing.
gotta keep having me on
Fan
here.
puppeted,
It's hyping me up so much.
Yeah,
So,
I love it.
Your
Getting
min
fan
take is
puppeted.
your min take is one of the hottest takes I've had. That I instantly agree with. Like I now believe
It brings
what you
tears to
believe.
my eyes.
Yeah. So at any moment, yeah. So yeah, we would love to have you guys on, and this has been super fun.
yeah, awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks again. This has been great.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on. I think that you have just suggested an awesome Thunderdome-esque YouTuber panel that we may have to do at the end.
It's
where
probably
we
going to
just
happen now.
invite the most bestest person from each of the three that we have planned.
I like how you're pretending to invent this right now when we all know I just uncovered it. Come on
We
now.
literally
he's
just
got
said
this
that, like you guys. This is your
unearthed
fault.
it.
No, we're not gonna claim
we
creative
definitely
value.
just came up with this right now. 100%. 100. It definitely wasn't a thing before. You are fake news.
No,
that actually sounds super fun.
This
Like
is-
I'm
this is all
legitimately
Ryan's fault
serious
now.
that sounds amazing.
No, this is all Ryan's fault now, because if after September 15th, which is the last one we have scheduled to record, if Leafcast or The Way of the Leaf isn't a part of the next round, Ryan, that's
we'll
more
never
that's
hear the
more
end of
your
it.
fault than ours, because now this is a competition. So we'll do that. We'll. This is part 2. So
I'm
obviously-
confident.
Hey guys, vote
I'm
for your
confident.
favorites in the Thunderdome.
So we'll probably do that. Like, who from part 1 and part 2 of this part of the series was your favorite? And then like, okay,
Oh
it was
no.
so and so we'll pull them.
Feels like high school. God damn it.
And now it's a popularity contest.
No, we're doing this.
Damn it.
We're doing
Damn
Battle
it.
of the Bands. No, it's Battle of the Bands. We got this.
Most
Great.
likely to be on YouTuber panel part 4.
Great.
There
The
you go.
really handsome guy's going to be president. And the really pretty girl's going to be the head shield. God damn it.
Because then we'll get somebody from this one, we'll get somebody from the next one and the last one to all come on together. And then from there they've got to drill it down to. We just want to do one from those 3,
Oh, Jesus,
three who
yeah,
take
and then we'll do an
spot.
episode with just
Two
them.
men enter, one man leaves.
Probably-
Thunderdome.
One of
So,
the Black Tower hosts
speaking-
gets kicked off and replaced with us.
I know, right? It'd be hilarious.
Oh,
like
God,
we're gonna
All
get
right,
rid of
totally
Sorry,
Andrew.
Daniel. See ya.
We're gonna get rid of Andrew and bring in Badger as the wild card.
Yeah, next
Like,
thing you know,
speaking-
Andrew's in Badger's home doing the videos from his home.
Sitting there wearing a Badger onesie.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, guys, whether we end up doing anything like that or not, please know that we have absolutely thoroughly enjoyed having all of you guys on. This would not be possible without you guys. This collaboration is one of the most fun things I've done with the podcast, and I don't mean that to belittle anything that we've done with the podcast, but it's also been a great time. So thank you guys
The
so much for being a
contest
part of it.
is. Thank you, Ryan. The contest is happening. now.
Battle dome.
But yeah, so
Campaign
we do
yourselves.
have.
But speaking of the next one,
Yep, we
Because
do
I don't
actually
wanna
have
forget that.
more of these YouTuber panels planned. We're actually having a bunch more people on. It's going to be a fantastic thing. I don't know if any of it'll live up to the first one.
No,
Oh,
your
no?
lineups,
I
your
don't
lineups
know.
are
Oh,
Oh
solid.
yeah, yeah.
Your
they're
lineups
good.
really
will.
don't
are
know.
They'll be
solid.
fantastic.
You got great lineups coming up.
But I'm super excited. Again, we've had some fantastic people for parts 1 and 2. We're gonna have some fantastic people lined up for the next one and the one after that. So definitely, please go ahead and tune in, and please, seriously, go ahead and check out the Badger Reborn, the Gleemen, and the Way of the Leaf. Not only have they been super awesome and super fun on this particular collaboration, but they're also super fun on their own channels, and they absolutely deserve at least a follow, if not a serious watch of everything that they've put out.
Yes. Eyes
So-
bleeding at the end. You will not regret it.
so
And then please send us pictures.
Guys, I'm honored to be a part of this. Thank you for inviting us. You guys
we've
are
loved
great.
having you all: Badger, Dan, Ryan, Vance, Drew, Josh. I'm gonna name you just because you weren't able to make this one.
Who?
Josh,
Who's that?
our
Just kidding.
Soravan Mahale, our
Yeah.
storm leader.
But we love having you all here. The next episode will contain 3 other content creators. I'm gonna leave it there for it to be a bit of a mystery, but I guarantee you one. Well, I guarantee all 3 actually are people that you've heard of before, and if you haven't listened to, you need to. 100% guaranteed. But in the meantime, if you're looking for more Black Tower podcast content and interactions, the easiest way is to head over to blacktowerpod.podbean.com. If you are on computer, look on the left-hand side just below our icon, and you will see links to take and get to our Patreon, to get to our YouTube. I think Facebook is there. I'm not sure. But no, I
I'm
don't
pretty
think
sure
Facebook's
all
there.
of the links are there.
Twitter is there, as well as the merch store, which is shop.blacktowerpod.com, or is it shop.spreadshirt.blacktowerpod? Anyway, click the link. It'll take you where you need to go. You can get some fantastic Black Tower podcast merch. There's also some like hashtag embrace the taint, but also most notably, there's some hashtag Dragon Sworn, which is the fandom name as chosen by the fandom that you can buy there, and all the proceeds go into us doing bigger and better things for
With
the
all of these
fandom.
wonderful people.
Yeah. In addition to that, the Twitter, in case you don't want to go to one site and click the link, is at Tower Podcasts. If you want to have a more intimate conversation with us where not everybody sees it, you can email us at blacktowerpod@gmail.com. And as always, you can find our episodes at blacktowerpod.podbean.com. That is our main hosting site.
But yeah,
but
seriously,
go ahead,
guys,
Daniel.
Again, I cannot say enough. Thank you guys so much for coming in and collaborating with us. You guys are fantastic. I literally cannot say enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, fun time, guys.
If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, make sure that you go over to the Badger Reborn, that you go over to the to Way of the Leaf, that you go over to the Gleemen. Give them a follow, subscribe to them, like the videos, follow them on Twitter.
That bell.
Yeah, definitely do that so you know when the next one comes out for their channels.
Smash the bell.
Yeah.
Make it the Liberty Bell.
Yeah.
Do all the clicky button things and show them how much you love them because we love them immensely. You guys have been fantastic. And Daniel, I think you have a key phrase at this moment.
I do. And thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a lovely, lovely morning. And in case we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
That wraps up this section of the discussion. Finally, check out my other videos, including the other parts of this discussion. Subscribe to my channel, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to help me create more Wheel of Time content, I have a Patreon, and I would love it if you would join.